quick little prediction, and then we move on to the next one. So let us begin with the first one. We're going in chronological order too. So let's start with Wales v Denmark.
Denmark.
Did that feel good or?
Yeah, I don't think either selection should be in the tournament. I'm not particularly convinced that Denmark should even be in the second round because they lost 2 games and won just 1 game in the first round. But probably on emotions alone, it will give Denmark that extra push. It's not as if Wales is so great either. So.
Well, yeah, Wales
Denmark
has the little bit of star power, that being Gareth Bale, Aaron Ramsey. And then their other 2 best players this tournament have been Kiefer Moore, who people, you can be Googling him, but he's plays for Cardiff City. And then the surprise of Joe Morel of Luton Town. And any listener we have who says that they who watches Luton Town before is absolutely lying. If you're listening to the Barcelona podcast, you're probably not watching Luton Town. But yeah, Joe Morel has been again, one of those feel-good stories, like coming out of left field and just kind of playing in that Wales midfield, and he's been pretty good. But as you bring up, Denmark, first team in Euro history to reach the knockout stages after losing their first 2 group games. But that also makes sense because with the expansion of more teams playing in the Euro, this was bound to happen mathematically. It just happened to happen already this season. And then Denmark, the thing that makes this game fun is that Denmark has been the most direct side in the tournament, 4.7 direct attacks during the group stage. That is a possession that begins in a team's defensive half and leads to a touch or shot in the opposition penalty area in 15 seconds or less, which means that almost 5 times a game, Denmark begins their attack in their own half and then already has it up in the other penalty area less than 15 seconds. So they're not wasting any time. They know that the best way to score goals is to take the ball from your own end and to try to get as close to goal as possible. So that's what Denmark's trying to do. So this one could be a shootout. It'll be fun, but I'm going to agree with you that I think Wales are the better team, but I also think the knockout stages don't really care about that. So Denmark for me. Now the next one is Italy versus Austria.
Austria, of course. Austria is going to go all the way, man. They're going to beat Italy, then they're going to beat Portugal, then they're going to beat France, and then in the final they'll beat Germany.
For sure.
This is so obvious. Austria is another team that shouldn't be there, and Italy is a team that is playing a lot better than everybody expects. I can see an upset happening and Italy getting kicked out when we do not expect it, but not against Austria. Easy win for Italy.
Yep, I agree. 60 shots in 3 matches for Italy. That'll continue. Austria and Italy were actually 3 and 4 in pressure in the attacking third per 90, but Italy did a lot more with those pressures than Austria, who were merely just kind of pressuring and didn't lead to much. Since 1980, when the tournament expanded, no team has won all 3 group matches and not conceded a goal. That's what makes this Italian team a bit special under Mancini. And then I think the only reason I would go for Italy no matter what was Marco Arnautovic is one of the most unlikable players that I've ever seen in world football. He truly is. And then David Alaba does play for Real Madrid now. So it's hard rooting for a guy that in Alaba, who I rooted for a long time. Now he's a Real Madrid center back. So I don't need him feeling good about himself going into the next season. So yes, Italy 100%. All right. Next one.
Solid reasoning. And Arnautovic has always been unlikable.
Oh my gosh. He is.
Yeah.
Google him. We don't even have time to get into it. Just Google him. He's exhausting. Netherlands versus Czech Republic here. I think I'll go first on this. While Patrick Schick did have the goal in the tournament against Scotland, and I think this Czech Republic's side, even though it's not a lot of household names, they are much more of a well-built, more sum of their parts team who, when we talk about offensive pressures, they're one of those teams that I was talking about when I said not a lot of big names, but they attack, they want to attack, and they want to play football. So this could be another one of those shootouts. The Netherlands is better, and I think the Netherlands better hope this doesn't go to PKs with a 1-1 or 2-2 match. But the Netherlands should win this match.
Netherlands should win it, but I don't rule out an upset either. So it'll be a fun match, that's for sure. I think so far the Dutch matches have been fun, and we're still waiting for an opponent who knows how to deal with Dumfries.
True. Yeah, he's been really, really good. I mean, in PSV, you think that he's 25, 26 now? You'd have to think that this is going to be the summer where he gets moved. Or PSV might not be able to find a price that they're comfortable with. So if anything, he might leave next summer. But you get the feeling that this is the summer now.
I think he'll probably move on this summer on the strength of this tournament.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to take that risk, and they're probably going to pay more than he's worth.
Yep. Yeah.
Because it's a typical tournament where you see somebody playing really well, but he's actually not that great. So, I'm happy for him because he's having the time of his life and he deserves it. But he's not going to keep up these numbers.
No. Well, yeah, it's historically, again, he's 25, 26 years old, and this is uncharacteristic, but a Premier League club only cares about the moment because the moment is what helps you stay up in the Premier League. So that's why a lot of Premier League clubs, especially with the money being thrown around there, that, yeah, I think I'd say 85% chance, 90% chance he's going to the UK. All right, next one is Belgium versus Portugal. This might be I know England versus Germany thinks it's the biggest match of the round of 16, but I think Belgium-Portugal might be the biggest match of the round of 16.
No, England-Germany, because of the history, is the biggest match. Because there's just not that much history between Belgium and Portugal.
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
But in terms of just star quality,
that's what I'm arguing.
It will be Belgium-Portugal. I think Belgium has the more attractive team. They have De Bruyne, who is one of the best 5 players in the world. They have Lukaku, who's possibly the best number 9 in the world right now. But Portugal just has that attitude that can see them beat opponents even if they don't play better football than their opponents.
I know. That's why I said that they were a top 3 favorite. And that's why I hate sticking by it, but I do think Portugal is going to win this one. And crazy enough to say, is Nelson Semedo the key here? He was terrible against Germany, but better against Kylian Mbappe. And if he can help shut down Hazard or whoever else is floating around, and that's either Hazard, and he can just stop those wings and stop that ball distribution from the wings into Lukaku, and Lukaku doesn't have the distribution that he'd want from the out wide, then Portugal have a shot. So if Nelson Semedo had a good day, Portugal could wind up winning this match.
I think Belgium is better off playing Carrasco than Hazard on the left.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Yep.
You don't really need a playmaker if you already have De Bruyne.
Yep.
What do you need Hazard for? It's better to have that speed and that directness that Carrasco provides them than whatever Hazard gives them.
So Belgium, so you're going Portugal as well?
Yeah, I'm going with Portugal, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, we agree. Okay, next one is Croatia, Spain. Croatia, obviously, even Rakitic, he retired, and Mandzukic did the same. So many of the same players anyway, though, who made the final of the World Cup, including that midfield with Modric, Brozovic, and Kovacic, all around. And then we already talked about Spain here. So Croatia versus Spain.
I think Spain is the better team.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so Spain to go through.
And one of the reasons I think that is, I think Luis Enrique, I'd be surprised if he didn't start Villarreal and then the former Espanyol, Gerard Moreno. I can't stand him. He's, again, one of Gerard Piqué, as mentioned, he's one of the most hateable guys that he's ever worked with. But that said, Spain, they're just more dynamic. No offense to Dani Olmo, but Gerard Moreno is a goal scorer. And I think he complements Morata just by helping Morata get things forward, thinking towards the goal, just thinking in that direction.
Yeah, I've been a bit disappointed with Olmo this tournament. I expected more from him. I had him on my fantasy team, but guess what? He's not there anymore.
Well, I think he did struggle a bit after the move from Zagreb to Leipzig, just because they have so many players to play in those positions. And I would give him another year to adapt to that kind of football. It's just an entirely different style. The way that RB Leipzig play is an entirely different style from what most other teams play in the world. It's high intensity, high octane pressure from start to finish. And it's just different. I don't know if that was the right fit for him. And if he's moved on in a year or two, I wouldn't be surprised either, just because he may never be comfortable. And there's a really good football in there, obviously. We see it. Next up, France versus Switzerland.
Again, I don't rule out an upset. I had France as the favorites at the start of the tournament, but they're just not playing very well, are they?
But I think they are. I think they aren't, but they're playing the way they want to play. And they're reminding me of Spain in 2010, where they have the superior players and they're just winning games the way that they would want to play, meaning 1-0 is fine by them because it's a controlled 1-0 win. And so as much as France hasn't been good in terms of like banging a lot of goals in, I think they're far superior to what Switzerland has. And I agree with you. If they get upset by Spain or Croatia in the next round, that's not crazy to me. when they're facing off against players that are arguably just as talented as they are at a few positions at least, or a bunch of positions. But I mean, Switzerland has not been good. I think this actually comes down to Switzerland just not being good enough for this one. Shaqiri and Seferovic, they came out to play against Turkey, but they might have been the worst team in the tournament, that being Turkey. So I don't think Switzerland's proven anything. And yeah, I mean, if it gets a PKs, anything is an upset. But Paul Pogba has also been superb. I want to throw that in there.
I agree that it's unlikely, but what sometimes happens when a group of really good players just don't win matches convincingly, whether it's because they missed chances the way they did against Hungary, whether it's because they just decided to defend for 45 minutes, like against Germany, or whether it was because against Portugal, well, Portugal was just so much better than them. Sometimes the dynamics can be such that they'll have a match against lowly Switzerland, where France will have 25 shots and Switzerland will have 1 goal.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't rule it out. Obviously, France is the favorites, and 9 out of 10 times they'll go through. And I'm going to say France is going to win. But France do not look as good as we were all saying before the tournament started.
Yeah, I mean, I think Antoine Griezmann has been one of their best players, and I don't know what that says about France, but that's a discussion for another time. England versus Germany, as you said, it's the one that the media is obviously playing up because it's the one with the history. England has been boring. England has not been great to watch, and Germany has been a roller coaster in the last tournament under Jurgen Löw. But yeah, England versus Germany.
I mean, which Germany is going to show up? The Germany that played against Hungary or the Germany that played against Portugal? There's a big difference right there. I think Germany is probably more motivated against England, and I think Germany will win.
Yeah, I mean, the decision for Gareth Southgate to play his attacking players like Jack Grealish, will he start? Most likely not, though. I mean, and I'm sorry to Jadon Sancho fans, but he's not sniffing the pitch at all because they're going with a certain style. That's the way Gareth Southgate is playing. That said, I can see England scoring on the counterattack. So I'm actually going to say England here just because I think they're going to get a counterattack goal and figure it out. So I could see them winning 1-0. I can see them winning 2-1, or I could see it going to penalty kicks and England winning on penalty kicks. Believe it or not, I know there's a curse there, but I don't think there is. I think most of these English players are battle tested. They've been in big spots before, and penalty kicks, they're scary, but I think these national teams don't carry with them the weight of the past like they used to. I think there's a lot of, I don't know what it is, but it's just, I think it's because domestic football is so international now anyway, that you're world-renowned superstars anyway, so like a Kai Havertz, he just scored in the Champions League final, and he scored again against Hungary to save Germany. He's 21 years old. And so Germany will want to open up England up for sure, and Kai Havertz will be a part of that. But just talking about the mentality of Kai Havertz, yes, it's very German. It's very, Raumdeuter, just like Thomas Müller. It's very, hey, I'm out here to do a job. I don't care about expectations of the past or whatever. I'm just here to play. And so I think when it comes to modern young footballers like Kai Havertz, there are some between the ears, but the modern player like Havertz, again, scoring the Champions League final 1 week and then trying to perform against England in the Euros, it doesn't matter to them. You know what I mean? Like, they're just concerned with that. Their game of Fortnite after the fact.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You're talking about penalty kicks and how the English players are more battle-hardened now. But how many of those English players actually take penalties for their clubs?
That is a good point.
And,
yeah.
And it's quite a young team. I think Kane is having a terrible tournament.
Yeah.
By the way, Kane is one of those players who I know that he's good. Obviously. I know that he's good. It's just every time that I watch England or Tottenham, he does not look good. And I always watch the games in which he doesn't score for some reason. I'm not very impressed with Southgate either. I don't know why Sancho is not playing. I don't know why in what was a must-win game almost for England, Foden was not playing, or why Foden is always subbed out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why Trippier was started on the left. I don't know what Southgate is doing with that team. Germany will win.
I'm going to go England for those reasons, because I think Germany is the better team. Obviously, it's not surprising if either team wins, but yeah, I'm going to go England just to be different. We have to disagree on one. Sweden versus Ukraine. Alexander Isak, Emil Forsberg, the ageless Marcus Berg, Sebastian Larsson, and Mikhail Lustig, all three of them they're all 34, 35, 36. And then again, Isak and Forsberg being the better players. They're just way better than Ukraine. Defensively, they were so solid against Spain. They have the best defensive metrics in the tournament. And then offensively against Poland, they had their backs against the wall. They got the job done to win the group. So, I mean, Sweden, I would make the argument this might be the most lopsided. We just talked about France, Switzerland. Now that we get to the end, this might be the most lopsided, not in terms of goals, but just in terms of one team being so much better to win this matchup than the other one. I think Sweden are that much better than Ukraine.
I was very impressed with Ukraine when they played Holland. But then again, our defense did kind of make it easy for them. But I like the football that they're playing. However, Sweden will just sit back and defend and bore and frustrate the hell out of Ukraine. And they'll probably score a goal. Isak hasn't scored yet, so he's probably going to get one. He deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with Sweden as well.